Hello, my name is Ross Gagan and I am Faculty Leader for Performing Arts here at Cotton. And in this brief video, I'm going to talk you through the BTEC Tech Performing Arts Dance Pathway. As I'm sure you're aware, Performing Arts become option subjects at Key Stage 4 at Cotton, and if students are wishing to continue their study of dance, then the BTEC Tech Performing Arts Dance Pathway is the option that they will need to choose. So a couple of years ago, we moved away from GCSE dance. When the reforms came in, the GCSE dance became 70% theoretical and only 30% practical, and we felt that was the incorrect type of course for our students. So we've moved to the BTEC Tech award, which is about 85% practical, with written work only there to support the practical work that students have created. So it's a 3-unit exam. Component 1 is exploring the performing arts, and this is an internally assessed unit comprised of practical workshops with a written portfolio to support those workshops. In this unit, students are introduced to new practitioners and choreographers and are kind of assessed on what they are producing in those workshops and those rehearsals. It's an internal unit and it's 30% of the total grade. Component 2, which naturally follows on from that, is about developing those skills and techniques. And it's another internally assessed unit, and it's made up of a performance of pre-existing repertoire that the students choose, inspired by the practitioners and the choreographers that they've studied in Component 1. That's another 30%, as I say, is another internal unit. And then the exam unit is Component 3, performing to a brief. Students devise and choreograph their own performance on a theme given to them by the exam board. And there is a logbook to support that, but the predominant form of assessment in C3 is a performance again, and that is 40% of the student's final exam grade. So Component 1, exploring the performing arts. Here, students explore the processes used to create performance. We introduce them to different practitioners and choreographers, and they learn those different performance styles, and they investigate how these practitioners create and influence what's being performed. So here it's a variety of different contemporary practitioners. Someone as established as, say, Christopher Bruce or Matthew Bourne, and then more kind of experimental or kind of avant-garde choreographers such as Deviate or even Gecko, for example. It's 30% of the course, and it's about kind of giving students what it's like to be a working dancer, what it's like to be a professional performer. Component 2 naturally develops on from that, and here we take the skills and techniques that they've learned in Component 1 and apply those to a piece of pre-existing repertoire. So if they have really enjoyed, let's say, Christopher Bruce in Component 1, then they may choose to look at a piece of Bruce dance. You know, quite often students really latch on to, say, Matthew Bourne, so we might look at Bourne Swan Lake, or equally, if we end up with something like Gecko, we might have used Gecko's The Wedding in the past. But it's all down to the students. It's based on what they've enjoyed most about their choreographers in Component 1, and they then select that piece of repertoire to explore and develop in workshops, and then they perform that repertoire as part of the assessment. It's in another internal unit, and it's an additional 30% of the course. And then Component 3, performing to a brief, is where students pull together all that they've learnt across the course and apply that to their own piece of choreography. So they're building on the skills in classes and workshops, developing ideas based around a brief that is provided by the exam board. So the exam board might give us an open-ended quote or an intention of sorts, and the students choreograph and devise their own work around that. They work in a group of between 3 and 7, but that doesn't stop them choreographing solos or duets within that. And it's the final kind of exam type unit. An examiner will come and watch the performance and mark the students on what they see there. And that's 40% of the final grade. So how do we break this down? So within year 10, terms 1 and 2 are all about the teaching of the skills and repertoire and practitioners for Component 1, introducing them to these new choreographers and to work that they probably haven't explored previously. And that leads into quite an early assessment in term 3, where students take part in assessed practical workshops and create their own portfolio reflecting on these practitioners that they've looked at. In terms 4 and 5, we start exploring the repertoire for component 2. So this is where the students are introduced to all the specific rep that link to the practitioners and choreographers in component 1. And that moves into a term 6 component 2 assessment of their rehearsed performance. So inherently across year 10, 60% of the course is completed, and those marks are kind of banked and locked away for the students. Leads us into year 11 with only component 3 to look at. Terms 1 and 2 are based around the teaching of those skills and techniques. Again, workshop-based lessons, looking at different choreography skills, looking at different technical performance skills. In term 3, the exam board released the brief. So the students then get to explore their intentions for their work and get to experiment with different ideas. So that then in term 4, the final component 3 assessment takes place and they submit their final logbook. It means that kind of by term 5 of year 11, the students have completed their dance course, so that when the revision for their other courses begins to really hit home, actually their workload is lighter for their dance course. The main thing with this dance option is it is practical, so it can't be explored just within the classroom. It is about those students engaging with extracurricular programs within school, and looking at dance in the wider world outside of school. Bristol has a very popular and very vibrant dance scene, and we really encourage students to get involved in that. We bring as much work into school as we can for the students to watch, be it digitally or actually get dance companies in. We also like to take them out and see different work that's taking place in school, out of school hours, as a way of kind of exposing them to these new choreographers and new practitioners. And your support as a parent and encouragement to motivate students to commit to that wider study is absolutely crucial to not only their artistic development, but at the end of the day, the grades that the students are going to get at the end of it as well. Inherently, that is the course. My email's on the screen now, and I'm available to answer any kind of questions that you might have about the course and those sort of things. For your children, their dance teacher is probably the best person to talk to about their appropriateness for the course or any kind of specifics that they might also like to know. Okay, so thank you very much.